Hello and welcome back everyone to the first episode on SAP Business Technology Platform training with Capem on SAP Cloud Platform with Cloud Foundry. Thank you so much first of all for subscribing to this training and trusting once again in me. In this duration or journey of Cloud Platform training, you will see how different variety of applications are being built in Cloud Platform or so-called Business Technology Platform and they are being deployed. Along with that, we are going to learn some of the new dimension of frameworks like CAPM and also the techniques which will help you to create a pipeline for CI and CD of your application. You will also learn the security aspects of the applications. How do you secure your applications? Along with a lot of powerful concepts like access UAA, identity provider, app router, Node.js, core Java, all of that will be included in this next 40 hours of journey. I will make sure that I would assume you guys as freshers. Perhaps you may be already having experience on some of the things, but considering that in mind, I'll try my best to put up the things in a layman way so that anybody can understand from any of the background. So with that, let's get started our first session with introduction of Cloud Foundry. I hope in the demo session you have seen already the user persona or the developer persona. Whom are we targeting this training? This training is mainly targeting software developers, technical advocates, and SAP enthusiasts who would like to design and architect systems and understand how does and where does Cloud Foundry fits into the picture of SAP development. Also, if your company is asking you to explore cloud platform development with Capem, this training is also going to help you. Then we talked about what is Cloud Foundry. We discussed that we have different services offered in the cloud, so-called infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and development as a service. So basically, Cloud Foundry is a platform as a service which is offered by Pivotal as a multi-cloud development environment, and SAP adds extra add-ons on top of it by extending Pivotal's Cloud Foundry, and then this will be allowing us to develop or you reuse a fully ready landscape for entire development. This landscape is fully scalable. It gives lower total cost of ownership with high scalability and choice of technology, including focus on development, not on the infrastructure or platform, rather building innovative applications outside your stable core. Then we talked about the brief introduction of Cloud Foundry architecture. What are all the different services Cloud Foundry offers? Basically, SAP Cloud Foundry offers, including on top of services which are inherited from the Cloud Foundry itself. We saw a very simple CAPM use case in a course overview. Then there was a question about why Cloud Foundry, why not just one solution fits to everything. I have answered that in the last session that SAP scale is really big. It's humongous. There are so many companies, small, big, medium size, are using SAP solutions. And one particular app type or one particular solution does not supports all the possible use cases. That's why sometimes it's a just on-premise, or sometimes it is just cloud, or a hybrid approach where on-premise and cloud both works side by side to make the customer requirements satisfied. Yes. So we are also going to see some powerful use case to understand how can we build an extension in cloud platform using Node.js SDK given by SAP to exchange data from your stable core. So with that, let's move on to our today's session, a quick introduction of what is the difference between on-premise and cloud. Now, as I mentioned, I would like to do it in a way that you are a layman person and you've just started your career with SAP. You have not too much of idea of what is a SAP on-premise system or what is a cloud system. Maybe you are working on maybe a different third-party cloud solutions like Amazon Cloud, AWS, or Cloud9, Cloud 66, or DigitalOcean. Then you join this course to pioneer yourself into the ACP arena of development with Cloud Foundry. Then this also is going to help you. So an on-premise solution and versus a cloud solution, and what are the different offerings in the cloud. Let's compare it with a simple pizza delivery. Now imagine I would have a I'm famished to eat something, and I definitely need to eat a pizza today. So what are all the options I have? Option number one, where I will go to market and I purchase everything, including chili, tomato, milk, toppings, everything. I get it at home, and from the milk I make cheese. From the different spices I make toppings. From tomato I make tomato sauce. Then I make from the flour, wheat flour, I make pizza dough. Then I have my own cooking agents, which includes fire, oven, and gas. And then I will have my own dining table plate. I am the cook, I am the manufacturer, or I am the producer of even the raw material required for making a pizza. So all of this is managed by myself. Now imagine in the world of software, if your company want to use software or build software, they need hardware, they need everything, and everything is managed by your own company. That's exactly an on-premise solution. So right from the procuring of physical hardware, RAM, computers, computing resources, servers, networking, security, firewall, people managing servers, people managing server room, cooling agents, every single thing is on your company, including the code, including development, including the infrastructure, the landscape, everything is your own. That's an on-premise solution. Just like having everything yourself prepared before you start making pizza. Now, on the other side, let's say if I say perhaps I don't have that much of time and I'm truly hungry, I would want to get some part of this outsourced. So I will go back and say, hey, whatever infrastructure is required, which includes cheese, toppings, tomato sauce, and pizza dough, all of this I will outsource. I will get it from market, and perhaps I just have to take that out and bake it and eat it. So in this case, I get most of the material from outside, and then I just bring it on my oven. I cook it, I eat it. In that case, I own only the fire oven cooking agent plus soda and dining table. Rest of the things I outsource. So this is similar to a infrastructure as a service where your company says, hey, I would want somebody else to own the hardware. I don't want to manage hardware, security, data centers, database, or basically the storage or and RAM and computing resources. Let me outsource that to somebody. Who is that somebody? That somebody is could be Amazon. Amazon offers a infrastructure as a service where you can buy computing resources from Amazon at some cost. So that's something your pizza dough, your tomato sauce, and that is infrastructure as a service. Then you say, maybe I don't want to also manage my fire, cooking, and oven. In that case, I go with platform as a service, PaaS, in which what I do is I will say, hey, I would want to order the pizza online and let them deliver at my home. In that case, you are not cooking. That is again managed by the vendor who cooks it, who will use their own raw material and get you the pizza at home delivered. Yet you just manage dining table and soda to enjoy your pizza. So that is platform as a service where the required infrastructure to develop application is managed by also somebody else. So here both the infrastructure and platform, which gives you database, runtime environments, programming support, tools, services, frameworks, everything is done by a another third party person, and what you just focus as a developer or development team is developing an application on top. So that is your platform as a service offering. Then finally, maybe I don't want anything to be done. I just want to go to somebody and say, I will sit there, I will eat, and I will come back home. I don't want to have housekeeping. I don't want to have dishwashing. I don't want to have any infrastructure, dining table or soda at all. I will dine in and come. So that is your software as a service where everything is managed by vendor. It's like dining a pizza from a store. You go into the store, you have your pizza, you come out. So that is something like software as a service where entire software and the stack is managed by the vendor itself. So I hope this example helps you to relate to the real world, how on-premise versus infrastructure versus platform versus software works. So basically, it will turn out to be that you will have infrastructure, which includes all this networking, storage, server, and virtualization. You have runtime, middleware, database, OS to build an application as a platform, and then finally your application, which has application and data. Now, if I go and map it in my company, if I'm managing everything, that's an on-premise. Now, if I outsource some part of it, then in that case, I would say SAP or SAP partner manage it. That's an infrastructure as a service, and I just manage as a customer the rest of the things. So this is like a on-premise solution. Sorry, not on-premise. This is like a enterprise cloud solution where SAP is managing only this part, but on their enterprise cloud, you are installing your own platform and your own application. Then I would say the next offering where SAP says, I will manage both the platform and infrastructure for you, and you can just onboard your dev team to start developing. And that's where the SAP Cloud Foundry comes into picture, where SAP owns or manages infrastructure and platform both for you, and you will just go and onboard your dev team. Example of this is SAP Cloud Foundry. Then last offering is where SAP manage everything. That's basically a finished solution. Some of the names of such finished solutions could be S4 HANA Cloud or Analytics Cloud or SAP Ariba, Fieldglass, Concur, SuccessFactor. All these are examples of fully managed applications by SAP. You do not own anything. SAP own everything, including software, its infrastructure, and also the platform where it is being built. So you will just open your browser and access these applications. So if you come in this area, this one which I'm highlighting, this is the SAP Cloud Platform where you as a dev team will onboard and start consuming the platform as a service to build your own application for your customers. So that's his platform as a service. So I hope you are clear what is Cloud Foundry. Cloud Foundry gives you, SAP Cloud Foundry gives you a ready made, a fully ready landscape which you can use to develop applications. You will, as a development team or customer, manage only application and data, and rest all the things will be managed by SAP. Now, in this, what is the role of Cloud Foundry? So, Cloud Foundry is actually an open standard for platform as a service, which is built by Pivotal. Pivotal as an organization. So, they provide open standard for platform as a service, and SAP adopted that platform. So, what is the advantage? When SAP adopted it, uh, it is a industry it is an industry best practice where a lot of companies want to offer their platforms. So similar to SAP, a lot of companies want to build their platform, they adopt Cloud Foundry. SAP also adopted it. SAP will get free features from Cloud Foundry like infrastructure, instance fail safe mechanism, the complete hardware management, virtualization of hardware in a very effective manner. You will see in a minute the advantages what Cloud Foundry gives. Because of that, SAP chose to re-implement or redefine Cloud Foundry as an infrastructure. So first biggest reason is open source. You can tomorrow think of a company, your own company, and you can define your own cloud platform with your own name by redefining or reusing the code which Cloud Foundry offers. Yes, SAP did the same. Then they added their own flavors on top, own services on top of it, which allowed SAP to quickly enable their customers and partners to onboard on their platform for building applications. So that is the main benefit SAP got, a quick start for adopting Cloud Foundry. So this is the architecture we saw in the previous session also, where you will get a lot of free runtimes from Cloud Foundry plus some runtimes SAP add like XSA. Then you get free data services like Postgre, Redis, and Mongo. SAP added SAP ASC and SAP HANA and SAP HANA Vora. So these are all the data services which SAP included on top of the standard Cloud Foundry to enable their customers and partners to utilize HANA as a service. Then platform as a service, they have a lot of backing services which allowed SAP to offer to their customer capabilities like integration, collaboration, security, analytics, mobile user experience for Fiori runtime, then machine learning, IoT. And then business services, which includes commerce, localization, tax service. So these are basically services which are on-demand services. You can pay and use them in the cloud platform. Then together with that, you get free DevOps support, which includes development, logging, lifecycle management, profiling, monitoring, debugging, and performance statistics. Then you will also get tools. So Cloud Foundry is not just about services which you get out of the box, but you also get a lot of tools to manage these services, to develop applications. So one of the major tool which you get here is Business Application Studio, SAP BAS, which is very similar to Visual Studio Code, VS Code from Microsoft. So again, they have extended VS Code and put it in the cloud as a development environment. Then you have operations using Cockpit, which we will see today. And then you also have Marketplace, where you can go and buy partner solutions which are built on top of Cloud Foundry. Then on the two sides, you see on-premise and software as a service, fully fledged SAP managed software applications, which you can integrate with SAP. So if you have in your company S4HANA and you don't want to go back and to do classical development, which can break your upgrades. So in the past, what used to happen, if you go to SAP S4HANA, you implemented a body. Now, when a new upgrade comes to your system, you might have seen that your body is broken by that new upgrade. Your standard code breaks your development, or vice versa. If you have done a custom implementation and when your upgrade is applied, at that time upgrade failed because of your custom implementation. Yeah, so that will leave your core, your enterprise core or your ECC system in a very unstable state. And what SAP propose as a best practice, that if you want to develop custom applications, the best way going forward is to build them in Cloud Foundry, in the cloud platform or business technology platform. And this way you will keep your custom implementations outside the S4 HANA or outside the stable core, keeping the solution stable without being affected by upgrades. At the same time, how do you integrate? So for integration, they will give APIs. So you might have heard about API Hub. If not, don't worry, we'll look at that in this training also, how to consume API from API Hub to communicate to your existing on-premise systems. So you can build a extension in cloud platform which is decoupled from the stable core yet remains integrated. This is called side-by-side extensibility concept. We will see some flavors of it in our training. How can you extend a side-by-side solution in Cloud Foundry? So that is the main benefit you get here. You will always have your core stable and you are building extensions outside. Now, what are all the why Cloud Foundry, why SAP chose Cloud Foundry? So these are all some of the features which SAP got free from Pivotal's Cloud Foundry before we get into the history of Cloud Foundry. So first is it will give you a full development lifecycle support. So you as a developer or your company as a team of developers would get a full support of tools, services which will help you to do development, deployment and testing. All three you can do on one environment. Now, when it comes to development, you can build custom applications based on the choice of technology you have. In your team, you have variety of experts. You have Java expert, Node.js expert, ABAP expert, any kind of expert you have in your team. Depending on availability, you can choose the technology you like. Plus lot of tasks which we used to do in a on-premise world ourselves, building basics, building stuff which we really just need to reuse, is available readily in the platform. So you will get a quick start of things without really thinking about the underlying architecture or underlying things. You get a lot of things as free as a service. Like for example, I need to have a database running. Now in the on-premise world, you have to think about scaling, you have to think about hardware, you need to think about, okay, today I'm using MySQL and tomorrow perhaps I want to go to HANA. What are all the needs I need? You need to plan the full project and it runs for months. But here you can go to Cloud Foundry and say, hey, I want a HANA instance, and within 5 minutes you have a HANA instance running live for you. as a service, which you can use to build applications on top. Wow. Then we have deployment. So it supports full CI/CD lifecycle for deployment, which includes continuous delivery and continuous innovation, wherein you will do a push of code to the Git repo and it automatically uploads your application to Cloud Foundry. We will see this in our training as part of our CI/CD pipeline when we will build it. Then we have continuous integration, which includes moving your code from one place to another, like dev, Q, and P. Then we can scale our application on demand, so you can scale up and down because your entire application is so customizable that anytime, let's say during quarter end, I need more computing resources. Yes, so in on-premise world, your resources are poorly utilized, because whether you want system to be used by 50 people or not, you are fixed with the hardware. You are fixed with the hardware, and scaling is very hard. If you want more people to onboard on your on-premise system, you have to double or triple your server in terms of capacity. That is very expensive. But when it comes to a cloud world, scaling up and down is not a problem. You can anytime say, hey, I want more computing resources, you can go with that. You pay little bit extra for a month, and after a month you feel that not much uses are happening, you can scale it down. So you have both vertical and horizontal scale. In our next episode, I'll show you how scaling works. Then you can use, of course, a lot of testing frameworks. Plus you can monitor and upgrade your applications without zero downtime. So these are all some of the benefits which Cloud Foundry offers and SAP adopts as a best practice. So you get them free, and that's why SAP chose Cloud Foundry for reason one. Reason two, self-healing container management. So what happens is, whenever you deploy an application in Cloud Foundry, it runs inside a self-healing mechanism, which is so-called cell. So cell is itself a smallest unit where a lot of applications runs inside, and that has a garden inside. A garden contains the execution runtimes, which we call it as containers. So within a garden, at a given point of time, you can have a Node.js container, a Java container, or a Python container, and that is self-healing. So for example, due to any reason, there is a crash in your application, maybe due to a heavy load or something. In that case, this mechanism is so self-healing that it will open up another cell, gets created parallel to your existing cell, where Cloud Foundry will start other instances of your application automatically. So that is the benefit you get out of the box when it comes to self-healing mechanism in Cloud Foundry. So this is another benefit SAP get when they adopt Cloud Foundry. The third benefit is 12-factor app support. So Cloud Foundry also comes with guidelines for building applications which are based on microservices. I'm going to talk about microservice in our next session in detail. What is microservice? Why microservice architecture? What are all the benefits over the normal architecture or monolithic architecture? And basically the thought is, entire application you do not build as one big monolithic app. You will build this whole application as small microservices. Take a look at an example of Uber. Yes, let me just try to explain you the Uber's architecture, what Uber have done. So earlier Uber had a very big large application. Yeah, it was a very big application. This was complete Uber application. Now if you look at the modules inside this application, are like, there is a driver module, there is a passenger module, yeah, there is a trip module, and there is a payment module. Yes, and there is, let's say, search module for searching cabs. Yes, nearby cabs to me. So if I am a rider and I want to book a Uber cab, yes, so I will search for a nearby cab. Yeah, now out of how many people search the cab, how many people really book the cab, right? So let's say if 100 people are searching for cabs, out of that only 80 people or 90 people will actually go ahead and book it, correct? Otherwise they are just looking at it. So in this case, there is a heavy load on the search functionality of Uber. Now, when it comes to booking, you just need only 80 to 90 people. Once they book, how many people really completes the trip? Maybe about 95% people, which comes to about somewhere, let's say, about 82 or to 86 people out of 90 completes the trip, and they otherwise cancel, or they leave it in the middle, or they change location. Then later on, out of how many people will actually pay using payment gateway, using Paytm or third party credit card, debit card, and how many people will really go and pay in cash, right? So let's say 40% people pay in cash, right? So in that case, you will just need less number of resources for payment compared to other resources. So you need very high number of resources for search, very less number of resources for payment, and of course comparatively somewhere middle number of resources for trip. So earlier they had a big one single application. Now out of this application, some of the resources are poorly utilized. Now if they want to support, let's say, 1 billion requests, they have to scale up this whole application as one big application, and it is hard to upgrade one part of application. It's very hard, to just upgrade. You have to upgrade the whole application and deploy this whole application as a whole when you want to go for upgrade. So also resources are poorly utilized, and upgrade is very difficult. And if one part of application breaks, the whole application breaks. So that's where Uber decided to go with a microservice architecture. So now in Uber's architecture, everything is a microservice. So this is how we represent microservice in a diagram. It's like a pentagon. Yeah. So you will represent a pentagon like this. Yes. And each of them is a microservice. And these microservice now talk to each other. Wow. Amazing. That's cool. So you have a driver microservice, you have a passenger microservice, you have a payment microservice, you have a trip microservice, and you have a search microservice. Now I can go and say I want 20 gigabyte of computing resources, 20 gigs of RAM, and 200 gigs of hard disk, with most of the CPU consumption will be allocated. So if I have, let's say, 100 gigs of RAM, then I will distribute maximum amount to my search, right? I will distribute the maximum amount to my search. So that is how I can now optimally utilize the concept of my system, and I can utilize my resources in a very effective manner. So Uber have done that, and they set up a benchmark for other players in the industry to build a microservice like architecture. So out of all the people, only 60% people use payment gateway. So why do we need so much computing resources for payment microservice? I just need hardly 2 gigs of RAM or computation power. So I can have this microservice with less computation power and this with high computation power, and yet they work in collaboration with each other by exchanging data. But this also brings too much of complexity, because you are exchanging data between these microservices. So it is perhaps a chance that one microservice fails. Now another advantage here is, if one microservice fails, your other microservices are still running fine. Yeah. So if payment fails, rest of the things you can still use. But at the same time, it brings a lot of complexity of exchanging of this data across microservices, and sometimes becomes little challenging for developers. But for overall system point of view, this is a great advantage, and that is what Cloud Foundry actually does. And you can also build each application in a different technology. Like I can build search in a Java, I can build payment gateway which I want more secure, maybe with Python, and passenger service with Node.js with beautiful Angular UI. So I can build each part of it in a different technology. That's an advantage. So let's understand history of Cloud Foundry. Where does it come from? So in 2009-11, VMware company have started working on a open source cloud platform project. With then later on, Bosch in 2012 also joined the journey, and they said we will provide work also on open source tools to build a platform as a service. Then in 2013, EMC Square, VMware, and General Electric, they all three come together, and they give a foundation to a new company called Pivotal. What was the goal? The goal was to build a open standard platform which allows companies to build applications on cloud. So that was the goal, and provide the frameworks, tools, as well as services to the companies and the guidance to companies, big companies, large corporations who can actually adopt this technology and build the and take an advantage of this open platform. So in this pivotal organization, there were three big projects, so-called VMware plus Spring Boot plus the Cloud Foundry. So those three projects was worked upon in the Pivotal as an organization. So Pivotal is the name of the organization. Then in 2014, it was having 7 platinum members and 2 gold members. In 2015, the number increased to 40, and SAP also joined the journey, started in discussion and joined the journey. And by 2019, there were 65 plus members as part of Open Governance Foundation, which are ready to co-innovate and adopt the Cloud Foundry technology as a open source platform for developing applications. Then in January 2021, this year, January, Pivotal has stopped a free trial account for their Cloud Foundry. But SAP continues to do that. You can still register on Cloud Foundry with SAP Cloud Platform and utilize and build and learn Cloud Foundry to build native cloud applications. So that's a brief history of how it started as a company. So Cloud Foundry is not SAP proprietary. Cloud Foundry is Pivotal's open standard, open platform for building applications. And SAP just adopted that to actually build applications or to add their flavor of services on top and offer that to their customers as a of course paid platform to build cloud applications for different synergies, pure cloud applications or extensions of existing on-premise application as cloud applications. So this is a quick and brief history about Cloud Foundry. Now when it comes to you as a developer or I as a developer, how do we get started? If I want to enough of history, enough of theory, understand what is the architecture, how things are, but if I want to start developing applications, how do I get started? How do I onboard myself to Cloud Foundry? How do I create my first application, or what are all the things I need to know bare minimum when it comes to building an application on Cloud Foundry? So first thing you need to understand is little bit of the structure and the infrastructure from the customer point of view. So what are all the components does Cloud Foundry has? When you log in to free trial or a productive account, what do you expect or what do you see? So when you set up your Cloud Foundry account, SAP Cloud Foundry I'm talking about, you will see a global account. The moment you register, sign up for free trial, or your company buy a cloud platform service, the first thing you see a global account. A global account from SAP point of view represent a customer for billing purpose. Yeah, for billing purpose. Suppose you are Deloitte or Accenture. So you go to SAP and say, we want to use your platform to build applications for our customers, or we want to build an application. So then SAP will say, okay, what are all the services you want? Do you want HANA? Do you want Postgre? Do you want runtime for Java and Node.js? Then I will charge you X amount of money per user usage, or per month, or per person, yeah, or per usage. These many hours you're running, this much charge you will pay. You will pay subscription fee in cloud. You don't pay license fee for lump sum amount, you pay subscription fees. So that is first thing you will get in the global account. Yeah, so if I am Accenture and if I go to SAP, same Accenture, then SAP say, what do you want, what all the services do you want? Accordingly Accenture is going to be charged by SAP. So Accenture want perhaps little more. They want HANA, they want Postgre, they want RabbitMQ, they want runtime as Java, Python, and ABAP also. They want ABAP runtime as well. So accordingly, SAP will make a plan and SAP will say, okay, this is what is your global account. These many units and compute units you get, and this is the price you have to pay per month. So global account represent a customer from SAP point of view for billing purpose. Now, one global account has so many computing resources. Suppose all the resources which you buy, like HANA, ABAP, yeah, you buy a lot of resources. So you paid for so many things. Yeah, let's say enterprise queue service, connectivity connection service. Yes, you paid for runtime for Java, Node.js, ABAP. Yes, so you paid for this, you paid for PostgreSQL, you paid for, let's say, RabbitMQ. Yes, you paid for integration services, you paid for machine learning. So all of these will be pooled into and given into global account. Every service which you paid will be assigned to global account. That we call it as entitlements. Sorry, my spelling is incorrect. So you get entitlements. Yes, so all these services you get as an entitlement. Now I got an account with entitlements, I got services. It's my decision within my company how I want to distribute these computing resources to different departments. Now to do that, I need to have a sub account. So a sub account is per region, point one. Yes, and it is a specialized service offering, represents LOB, line of business. So let's say I am Accenture and I have right now two departments. One is HR and one is finance. So in finance department, I will give HANA and ABAP. I will allocate these two resources here. But in HR, I will give PostgreSQL and Java and Node.js runtime to build them applications. So this way, I as a customer have flexibility to decide how I want to utilize my resources across multiple departments, organize them. So sub account is basically you can create n number of sub accounts inside your global account. These belongs to a region, and based on the region you can, so you have to choose region, point one, and you have to also choose infrastructure provider in that region. So suppose I want to use ABAP, and this ABAP service is only available with AWS Europe Frankfurt region. So Europe Frankfurt is a data center and AWS is the infrastructure provider. I want to use HANA. HANA is available only in GCP with the Singapore, let's say. So I can decide which sub account belongs to which region, which infrastructure provider, and how I want to distribute my computing resources across my departments. So that is something up to me as an administrator to decide. Once I got computing resources, I will distribute them across my departments. Now, depending on the region, you will see different services will belong to different regions. We will see that in a minute. Cloud application portfolio or Cloud Foundry portfolio for SAP, where which service is available, where which service is not available. So suppose I want to give BAS, Business Application Studio, which is a development tool, to HR department. That's also a service. It's a tool as a service. So I will have to see which region, which infrastructure provider this service is available. And accordingly, I will organize my company sub accounts for different regions. You can divide it by regions. Let's say in India I would give these many resources, in US I'll give. That way you can organize, or you can organize according to departments. Usually we do it as per department, and then inside these sub accounts you will get backing services. So different backing services like HANA, all these are services actually. BAS, HANA, POS, these are all services which you get. Then within a sub account you can have spaces. What is a space? A space is nothing but like an environment, like a dev environment. Okay, now you can have in classical ERP, you have dev q and p. Similar to that, we can have a dev space, a q space, and p space. So the LOB head, or the responsible LOB head, who has got, let's say, 20 gigs of runtime resources for Java, they can say out of this 20 GB, 2 GB I want to give for development, 1 GB for testing, and remaining 17 GB of computing resource I want to distribute to my development, quality, and production. So this way you can further create space quotas. We call it as space quotas. With the available compute units and resources, I can further organize them according to my spaces. So that is called space, which is what also I will show you. All of this we'll see today now in the system demo, so you can understand, well, what am I talking about here. So this is just a little theory which you will not see easily on the internet. It is comes with real experience when you go and work with Cloud Foundry day and night. So then you have spaces, and your actual applications runs inside a space. So a space is actually the place where your application runs. Remember, this is customer's view. This is not a technical view. In my last slide, when I showed you the garden and cell, that is a technical view. This is a customer view, or the developer view, how a developer would see when they go. You will not see a Diago, or you'll not see a cell or a garden at front of you. It's all behind the scenes technical working, but this is a customer's view, how a customer would visualize, or how would you as a developer visualize your account. So that is what this view is all about. So once again, just to summarize in a more descriptive manner, a company XYZ, when they buy subscription of SAP Cloud Platform, there is one global account which is created for them. Under the global account, you can have multiple sub accounts that could be perhaps based on region or according to organization. And then this whole sub account has a total quota, total computing resources, which are distributed by global account to sub accounts. Now within that you have spaces. The space is your development computing unit, where the actual development of application runs. You deploy your application to a space. Always you can't deploy your application outside a space. You have to have a space mandatory, and that has a space quota, which says, okay, this space is given 2 GB of memory and 10 roots and 20 endpoints. So that is what the quota of a space. Within that you have to remain, and you have to utilize your computing resource. If it exceeds beyond that, your application deployment will terminate. It will abandon to deploy applications into the space. It will say not enough quota. Yeah. We'll see how to create a quota plan in a minute. So now I have a space, and inside a space then you have Ruby, Java, database, everything runs inside. So you see in my QA space, I have a Python, Ruby and Java application. And in my prod space, I have Java, Python, Ruby application running. So then I can have a, a quota assigned for a space to see how many computing resource. So this way you can fully manage all the services and utilize them according to a customized way, according to the need you have. You want more computing for production, less for queue, and more for dev. You can accordingly organize your space and quotas and services in Cloud Foundry. Yes, so this is how Cloud Foundry works. The same is adopted by SAP. So when you go to SAP, you will exactly see the same thing when we go to SAP Cloud Foundry. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started with a free trial account. Yes, a free trial account which works for 365 days. You can use it. एक साल के लिए free. It's all free for 1 year. And then after that, you can create one more Gmail ID and create another account with that Gmail ID for 1 more year. And that way you can create like 70 Gmail IDs throughout your life, perhaps, and use 70 or throughout the whole life. As a single developer, you can use it for free. Okay, trial has a lot of limitations, of course. So that is why it is good for learning and development practice purpose, but not for productive purpose. Okay, so it has very limited resources allocated, entitlements given to you. So whenever you onboard, a global account will get created for you automatically. So the moment you onboard on a trial, a global account is created, and entitlements are assigned to your global account automatically by SAP. So you can't change those entitlements. And then you will create a sub account. So I will switch over to the system now. So what you need to do is you have to register. So you have to go to cloudplatform.sap.com. Yes, and here you can create a new account. So I've already created today a very fresh account for this training specifically, so that you can see from day one, when you get started, how do you look, how do you see the or perceive the account or everything. Maybe you already work with Cloud Foundry or Cloud Platform, some part of it, like you might have used BAS or you might have used something. It's okay, no problem. But if you want perhaps to see this all from scratch, I would also request create a new Gmail account and register first time fresh, so you can stay along with me throughout this training as I did. A fresh account, a completely fresh blank canvas. There is nothing in it, no service is activated, nothing is created. It's a fresh Cloud Foundry account. So when I try to register, it send me an email confirmation mail on my Google Mail account. I confirmed that, and then I've verified my mobile number with OTP, and then I'm onboarded. So that's the only thing which I did, which is pretty simple. You can do that. Now once I log in, how do you log in? You have to go to the URL called account.hanatrialondemand.com. This is the URL you have to go. Let me put that URL after registering. What URL you have to go? This is the URL you have to type in. Yes, trial home. So this URL, when you access, then you will be taken into the cloud platform, SAP Business Technology Platform account. Yes. So let's go there. The very first thing you get this, it says welcome to trial. In order to finalize your account, please choose a region. Now, for me, I'm in India, so I can choose Singapore as the most one, but I would still choose AWS Europe. Reason being, there are services which are not available in Singapore region, yet they are available in Europe Frankfurt region. For example, if I want to test ABAP on cloud, then that is not offered in Singapore Azure. So that's why I'm choosing this. It's all free. It's a free trial. So no matter which one you use, my strong recommendation for all of you is also to choose Europe Frankfurt. That's my recommendation for this training. Again, it's your choice. You can go and use anything. Let me show you why I'm choosing Europe Frankfurt. So let me go back to Google and search for SAP Cloud Platform Service Portfolio. Yes. And then I will go to SAP Service Discovery Center catalog. And this is where you will see whole bunch of services which I was talking about. Remember, in the architecture, we talked about lots of services which you have, lots of services, right? So these are all the services which you will see here now. You see ABAP as a service, agent activation. I don't know many of them actually. I never worked with all of them, but you can see workflow as a service, business application studio. We will use it. You see runtime. This is what gives you all the Java, Node.js runtime to run your Java applications on cloud, cloud portal services. So a lot of these services are there. HANA as a service. For example, I search HANA as a service. So you see HANA Spatial, HANA Cloud as a service. So you can go inside to this service. And then if your customer asks you how much I have to pay for this to SAP, you can also check service plan. And here you can see CPEA, subscription and trial. So CPEA, I think is as per UGS, Cloud Platform Enterprise Agreement. It's consumption based license model, how much you consume. Subscription, it's subscription allowed to access cloud services up to license maximum independent uses. So you will have a cutoff of uses. I want this much use. So that's a subscription. CPEA is Cloud Platform Enterprise Agreement. It is consumption based plan. This is fixed plan, subscription based plan, and this is trial. So right now we are using trial. So in the trial, I can see that what are all I will get in this service and which are all the region this service is available. So HANA Cloud Service, which is a HANA database in cloud, is available in US East and Euro Frankfurt. And for Azure, it is available in Singapore, which means you saw the trial options, which was visible. All three trial options you can run HANA as a cloud service. Now, some services are not available, particularly in Singapore. For example, I was talking about ABAP. I don't know about right recent state if they enabled it, but let me check. So if I want to run a ABAP trial to practice ABAP programming on cloud, then I can go back inside and as a service plan, and then I see it is only available in AWS. Okay, let me go to trial. So wow, there you go. You can see in Singapore it is not available. So if you chose Singapore and by chance for some reason you want to use ABAP on trial, ABAP trial account, you can't because that service is not available for Singapore Azure. It's only there for AWS, US and Europe. That's why I selected Europe, because most of the services which I want to practice or experience or try, they are there in Euro Frankfurt. That is why I'm choosing, though it is not the nearest to me, still it is good for me because I can test and practice everything. So when you are registering your account, please, I would request, please choose Europe Frankfurt because it has most of the services. Whether you use them or not, it doesn't matter, but you will get actually freedom to choose any service which we will be practicing throughout this training. I am not going to teach ABAP on cloud. That's a separate training. This training focus on development using CAPM, Node.js and Java. So that will be our main focus throughout this training, not the ABAP on cloud. ABAP on cloud is a different training. You can take it on my website. but will not focus. So I hope you get understand the portfolio, service portfolio. I'll put this service catalog link also into the slide which you can use. So SAP BTP portfolio, and then we will have here this portfolio. So the moment I choose now the Frankfurt, I'll say create an account. So you see, it will, okay, it expired the page. Let me re-log in. So it will now start setting up automatically a main account. A global account is already going to be created in Europe AWS region. So underlying infrastructure provider will be AWS. I don't see this AWS machine. I can't log into this AWS machine myself. This is not possible. Yes, remember the architecture. Underlying you will have an infrastructure as a service, IaaS. Yes, IaaS, that is either AWS, Azure, or GCP. So we do not have luxury to directly connect to this AWS machine. It will be somewhere on the internet in the Europe region. This AWS machine will be running, which is fully managed by SAP Cloud Platform. I, as a developer, don't care where it is and what is it. Okay. Then on top you have platform, which is what you are accessing, and then you will get a global account created for you. So it is creating a global account. Yes, and it is creating a sub account with the name called trial. Of course, you can delete and recreate this sub account. It is creating a default org and default space for us. Okay. So you see in a few seconds, this will get created. And a space, remember our architecture, we just saw the customer view or the developer view. So you have a global account, it has sub account, it has spaces. Yeah, and that's where you will deploy your apps. So it is created a sub account, it has created a global account. Global account is for billing purpose. It's a trial, so it's free for 365 days. You will see here 30 days only, but after 30 days gets over, you will get a pop-up to extend. So don't worry, you can extend that pretty easily. Then you have org, it's creating an org and a space. Okay, so that is what it will do automatically behind the scene in a few seconds, and it will get created. You will see in a moment we will be taken into the global account. I say continue, and now I say enter my trial account. So this will now show me my global account overview. So that's my global account, guys. And I was talking about entitlements, right? So it is for billing purpose. And now you see, since it's a free trial account, you get entitlements, free service entitlements here, service assignments. And these are all the services which are available in AWS Frankfurt, which are assigned to you. Yes. So you get these free service access assigned to your user to practice basic stuff. Wow, nice. So for example, runtime service, application runtime service. So this is Cloud Foundry runtime, which provides you access for developing, building Java and Node.js application. We would need this. Then you have Business Application Studio as a service that is also assigned to you. Limited capability, but yes, it can be used for testing. You can use, I'm not going to teach that, but you can use workflow service for workflow management. Then you can use API service, API management, API portal. Then you have cloud portal service. Then you have HANA service. So you see HANA cloud is a service is assigned to you. So these are all the entitlements given by SAP for free, because it's a trial account you get for free. These, but very limited, limited compute units, limited. So if you want to build, let's say 20 applications in Cloud Foundry in trial, you can't do that because they don't have this much of memory allocated or assigned to your account. They just have given you 4 gigs of memory. So within your 4 gigs of memory utilization, you have to build applications. So of course, when we go forward, we will build applications, then we run out of memory, then we will delete some application, and we will, instead of that, deploy other application by deleting existing apps. So that is your global account, your entitlements which you've got. You can also change these entitlements if you want. So of course, you can just go ahead and check how many of these entitlements are assigned to my sub account. So remember, resources are distributed in sub account from the main account. So now you see all these resources are assigned to my, whatever I got automatically. Cloud Foundry, when I set up, it assigned all these resources to my sub account automatically. The one sub account which it has created, everything got assigned to that sub account from the global account. yet you can organize it the way you want by creating extra sub account and allowing and adding more computing resources. So you can say new sub account and say this is my for finance team. Yeah, so this is my finance team and I will use AWS with, let's say, US, and then I can give a subdomain name, let's say finance, and then I can just see custom properties and I say create. So I can create another sub account, but what resources will go to this sub account I can decide from the service assignments here. So in the service assignment, say in my US I want to run ABAP, but in Europe I want to run Java. So that compute units ABAP runtime environment, I can change entitlements for ABAP runtime to US account in that case. So you can create in the trial also multiple sub accounts, you can see. Yeah, but I do not recommend right now to go to that detail level, and just delete this sub account which I've created, and we will work with only one sub account to keep it simple and clean for us. That way it will be easy. Okay, so that was about the basics of Cloud Foundry and onboarding today on SAP Cloud Platform Cloud Foundry account. In our next class, we will go inside the sub account. We will learn how to create a dev space, how to create quota plans, assign the quota plans, and then I will show you building our, or in fact, deploying our first application tomorrow. And we will understand what goes under the hood behind the scene when you deploy an application, how the auctioneer or cloud controller and the garden works together to understand how actually your app runs in Cloud Foundry behind the scene. I hope you enjoyed this session. Time for your questions one by one.
Anubhav,
Hi.
uh, Swami here. I have one of the old account so that I use for the SSC training. So
Mhm.
can I extend that and use it for this class also, or
Yes,
it's better to
perhaps
create a
you
brand?
can. So you can
Mhm.
go back and check if you still have validity. It will show on the top right corner. You see here, number of days.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can see if it has validity. So we will run this course for about 60 days to sorry, yeah, 2 months. It's a weekday classes where daily Monday to Friday, so it will take about 2 months. If you have 60-day validity, you can use it, but make sure that if you have done some development in the past, maybe we have to
Mhm.
delete them, because you may not have trial account with so many computing resources available. So you can use it. Definitely no problem if you've registered already in the past. No need to create a new account. But if you want to practice along, it doesn't take much time to sign up on a new account as well. You can use your wife's phone to verify OTP and create a new sub account for practicing along with me in this training. This way it's a good way, a good option for you to practice also some of these administration concepts which we are learning here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so that was it. Please set up your trial account by end of today. So tomorrow you come with your trial account, and then we will be able to start our first app deployment to Cloud Foundry. Thank you so much once again. See you and goodbye tomorrow.